Toxic bosses. Oh no! Don't worry, I can help. Let's go. A few years back, I worked at a consulting firm. And when I was there, we went through lots of different experiences working with clients and working with different businesses. One time, our group of change leaders, agile coaches, and people that empower and support teams was brought in to help support the client and, of course, our own firm. The first partner that brought us in, was, of course, very happy and excited for us to be there because we were fulfilling a need the client identified. The second partner, who was also on this client, was upset and frustrated that we were there because he wasn't part of the process. Unfortunately, that came out in very toxic and mean and painful experiences for us as the team and management. So we dealt with all kinds of things throughout, and it was not going that well. Luckily, a colleague of mine asked if we ever checked in with this second partner and found out what he actually wanted. And a light bulb just dinged across my head. It was amazing. What a simple thing to identify and how powerful it could be. So I reached out to that partner and set up a one-on-one meeting, just him and I. We had a conversation, and it basically was very short. I asked him right at the start, what can we do to make your life and job easier and better? He identified two things, which was amazing because those things we do all the time. So I told him we would start working on those things. We left with a smile, and our team started working on it. We started making progress and showed him what we were doing. And that changed our relationship, especially the relationship between him and me. After I left the firm, he continued to support me, encourage me, and reach out to me through LinkedIn and other ways. And it greatly changed our relationship. A couple of things that I learned from this story that I want to share with you. One, it's important not to assume when we meet somebody, especially a direct manager. We have no idea what they're looking for, what their reality is, what the situation is. Number two, find out what they're looking for. Find out what they need. Find out how you can be of service to them. That made all the difference for me. And number three, build a relationship with that person one-on-one. When I had that conversation with this individual, it changed our relationship completely for the future. It was really easy and very powerful. Another story to share is when I worked at a large bank. I worked with a group of people that I found both empowering and supportive and extremely friendly. Our group of Agile coaches and Scrum Masters and leaders really were there to help bring about the best in those around us. By far one of the best experiences of my life. We had our manager, who was probably the best one I've ever had in my career. She was supportive, encouraging, empowering, listened really well. Just an amazing experience with her. Unfortunately, things didn't work out and she moved on to something else. So we were given another manager. Unfortunately, like my first story, this manager behaved in very toxic and disturbing and angry ways. He brought out a lot of angst and insecurity in our group. So, few weeks after we were now under this manager, I was asked by another department if I could help facilitate a day to support them in doing the work they do. And it fit very well with my experiences. So of course I accepted. And I mentioned just in passing to my manager that I would be doing this one day of coaching and facilitation. He responded back in an email that he didn't want that. That's not what we do. That's not what our focus is. I responded back to him that this is exactly what we do. This is my experience. This is my strength. They've asked for it. I have the time to do it, so I'm going to do it. So I spent the day, got great feedback working with this group, And my manager reached out to me and was really upset and asked for us to meet. So we met, we had a conversation, and it started out with him letting out all his anger. It was actually really hard to be in that room. I felt attacked. I felt insecure. I felt demeaned. Luckily, I prepared for this already, and so I let him unload. Once he unloaded, I calmly responded and talked about how important the work that we do is, how this helped this department and this team, and how I think it was a good use of my time. He told me it wasn't, that I wasn't supposed to do that, and I should run everything by him. And instead, because I prepared, I actually stopped and paid attention to the comment as opposed to directly at me and how he was behaving. And I said to him, I don't think you would like to be talked to the way you're talking to me. How would that make you feel if your direct manager, our VP, spoke to you the way that you're speaking to me right now? And I said in a very calm, kind tone. He paused, he stopped, and I could see that he was caught. He realized he didn't want to behave this way, and that he was. So the conversation continued on other things, and it ended. I went back to my office, and I thought, I don't know, this didn't seem like a good experience. I don't know what's going to happen. But an hour later, he came back to my office, and I shared an office with another person, and he was sharing with me and that other person that it actually was a great conversation, that he was really impressed with my opinions, and he couldn't wait to do more things with me. And I was shocked. Where did this come from? How did this happen? And through that, our relationship changed. A couple tips I want to share with you that came out of this second story. One, it's really important to set up a one-on-one meeting. I did that in the first story and the second story, but it's really important to bring it up now. Having that individual relationship directly with your manager makes all the difference. Showing them kindness, giving them respect, and actually working through challenges with them will change your relationship. Number two, I noticed through my conversations with him that the way that he processed information was different than the way I did. So the tip is to actually change your approach to fit what's needed for the other person. I cannot control that person, but I can control how I respond and how I interact and how I show up for my meetings. And through that, I learned that it took him a while to process information and to make it marry with his own ways of looking at how he does things. With that in mind, I started approaching our conversation, our relationship differently. I started giving hints and teasing of what was coming, and then it would give him time to process. And then I would let him know a few hours or a couple days later of what I was thinking of doing. And then again, reach out again and let him know what I was actually going to do and what it was going to look like. And it changed our relationship. I found a couple things interesting from these experiences and many others. It's important to think of this person as a human being. They are your friend. They are not trying to do you harm. And when I was able to look at those people as being noble, as being important, as being clever, as being passionate, as being actually very similar to me, it changed a lot of things. Each time I interact with someone that behaves in a toxic, angry, or frustrated way, I try to calm myself down, and it seems to work. And when I calm myself down, they seem to be calm too. When I don't respond with an attack after I have been attacked, the attack goes away. And I found that to be very useful in my relationships for the last 12 or so years in consulting and coaching. You never know where you're going to go, who your client will be. You never know who your manager is going to be. You can't control any of those things, and neither can I. So I don't. Instead, I prepare. I consult my wife. I talk to my friends. I learn, I read, I watch YouTube videos like this to be able to actually take advantage of what I can do, come prepared, and show up as my best self. I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned something. I hope the next time you face a toxic individual or someone who's behaving with toxic ways, you're able to better handle yourself. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.